Good morning. We're back again on day 284 of our 365-day Bible study. We are at the moment looking at the Jesus story from St. Mark, which is largely copied word for word by Matthew and Luke. And today we're on Mark chapter 4, verses 35 to 41. And this is Jesus the Storm Stiller. That same day, when evening came, Jesus said to the disciples, "Let's cross over to the other side of the sea." So they left the crowd there, and just as he was, they took him with them in the boat. And other boats went with him. And a great storm of wind came. The waves hit the boat hard and washed into it. Soon the boat began to fill with water. But Jesus was in the stern, asleep on the cushion. They woke him up and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care that we're about to die?" And he woke up and told the wind off. To the sea he said, "Be quiet. Stop making so much noise." And the wind dropped, and there was a huge calm. And he said to them, "Why are you so scared like this? How come your faith has deserted you?" They were filled with fear and said to one another, "How can this be, that even the winds and the sea obey him?" Peter was probably the source of this story that has been preserved for us by Mark. One respected commentator says that it bears the hallmarks of Peter's style, at once crudely put, but full of vitality. All the details in it sound like the words of someone who was there and experienced it. Who else would have mentioned Jesus getting into the boat just as he was, or remembered the other boats, or the cushion Jesus was napping on? Who else would have made the disciples' awakening of Jesus such a rude one? I think those who have tried to make this story a reflection on Psalm 89 or the story of Jonah are wide of the mark. I'm sure this happened just as Peter told Mark about it. Jesus was human and naturally exhausted from having spent all day with the crowds teaching. The cushion is called the cushion because it was the only cushion in the boat. Some have said it was for the rower to sit on it, but the word Mark uses indicates it was more likely a pillow for the head more than a cushion to sit on. But note how rude the request was from the disciples. When Matthew and Luke copy the story, they make it sound more like a prayer or a request for help. Mark's version of the request must be more original. Mark won't have minded this. It's a sign that the Son of God is subject to human rudeness, and that won't be the last time that he makes that point. When Jesus speaks to the disciples, once the wind has dropped and they've got control of the water coming in, he talks to them bluntly about their fears and their faith. The wind and the sea do not possess ears to hear or intelligence to respond, and nobody here is saying that the weather is controlled by evil forces or demons. Jesus is addressing not the wind, not the weather, but the disciples. He's addressing them about their anxieties, which were of course preventing them from taking any effective action to help themselves. In their panic, they were not even bailing out the water from the bilges. That's why Jesus first says, "Why are you so scared like this? How come your faith has deserted you?" In other circumstances, they might have been praised for doubting their own powers and relying on his. They have let their doubts and their lack of confidence overpower them. Instead of doing the work of God and participating in their own salvation, they have dumped it all on him once again, and not for the last time. We are his brothers and sisters. As we saw yesterday, we are members of his family. We have a rightful place beside him, participating in his work. Sometimes we need to say to our fearful and unquiet minds, be quiet. Stop making so much fuss and bother. And we need to put our faith in ourselves as the agents of Christ himself. As Saint Teresa of Avila wrote, Christ has no body but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which he looks with compassion on the world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which he blesses all the world. Our fear and anxiety stand in the way of us fulfilling our true calling. Tomorrow we have an interesting and complex pair of healings with two delightful outcomes. The story of the taboo-breaking woman who interrupts Jesus as he is hurrying to bring a precious daughter back to life. I'll see you tomorrow.